smile on my face. I'm listening to Dandelion Wine in the background, and I'm sitting here having a beer and a toast, Sergeant Major, with Command Sergeant Major retired Dan A. Ridgeway. Look at that, 3rd of the 4th, Sky Strikers. Hey, cheers, right?
Cheers to you.
Audacia. You know, old soldiers, you know, reminisce, and you kind of look back on times, and you know, there's lots of things happening right now, and I definitely don't want to have a topical discussion tonight about anything that's going on and all those kinds of things. That's not what this is about. But Peter Montes is here. He says, yes, amen, right? And so, you know, let's just chill out and listen to a little bit of Dandelion Wine together for a minute. And
works for me.
Hey, look at that 80-second patch in the background. And I got these coins and stuff that you sent me. I love it. I love it. And the note, the beautiful note. Thank you, Sergeant Major. Hey, a handwritten note from, you know, one of your huge mentors. I've got your story here on paper. And I'm gonna read a little bit as we go. Not much, but a little. But it's just amazing, you know. So.
What, my life story fit in more than one page?
Oh, yeah, that's great, right? It's so awesome. It is so awesome. So, yeah, hey, y'all shout out to, oh, look at there, somebody, the GOAT, yeah.
Gunther.
Yeah, and so, yeah, we're here hanging out, and we're glad you're here with us, everybody. Take the time to shout out to Sergeant Major if you got a second. I don't know. It's just really cool. It's just really cool. Again, it gets better and better constantly. Each guest we have. Tomorrow night we've got let me go through some of that stuff for tomorrow night real quick, and let's share some things. Let's turn Dandelion Wine down a little bit here. Yeah, everybody, we're here with Command Sergeant Major retired Dan A. Ridgeway, and let me go through a process of sharing a couple things here. And hey, look, this is our donors, our master rated donors. Thank you, Command Sergeant Major Ridgeway is a master rated donor. I haven't had an opportunity to update the list, but you know, we made a call out today, Joe and I, and we you know, this is something that he and I have been working on. It's our passion project. We're not rich. And we need to buy more coins. So thanks to Williams, Jackman, Calderon, Evans, Cobos, Wino, Ridgeway, thank you very much. And 2 new basic donors today, Kirkendall and King. Thank you guys so much. We really appreciate your donors. You guys keep us going, are motivated. You know, we're not starving. But hey, I would have hoped that this project would at least fund itself. And so thank you so much for your endeavors to help with that. We appreciate it. And let's talk about what we got coming up. Guess what tomorrow night is? Look at this guy right here. He was one of my lieutenants when I was an OBC instructor, and he was a star. Oh, wow, he was a star. And so we're going to talk to him tomorrow night. We're so proud of him and everything that he's currently doing, fighting our nation's wars, right? And so let's talk about Wednesday. Wednesday we have, where's he at? There he is. There he is, Lieutenant Colonel Scott P. Caldwell. I remember him as Lieutenant Caldwell, and consummate professional and jokester at the same time. So we're going to talk to him Wednesday night, and then we're going to close things out on Thursday with, oh my gosh, how do I even say this? The Rough McGruff, right? Isn't Command Sergeant Major Sean Lear the Rough McGruff? He's going to say, what do you want to talk about, Marshal? You know, what do you want to talk? I'll talk. You know, and that's Lear. And I look forward to it. I love him. He is another one of those guys that is just such a great American treasure. And all he does is bass fish today and go to concerts, he says. So that's what we got going on this week. Tonight, it's Command Sergeant Major Dan Ridgeway. And let me get rid of this stuff on the screen here. And there we go. And here we are with the boss man. I've always called you the soldier's leader. I saw you. I guess you were just a couple steps above me coming through, and I don't know. I just always looked up to you. And so, you know, you were a Vulcaneer. and you had a tradition that you weren't scared to talk about and stand on, and you stood for excellence, and you got along with those around you. You weren't somebody out there beating your chest. You just did your job, and you took care of your soldiers. And here we are today, and tonight talking. And thank you for visiting with us, Sergeant Major. What's up with the two ends on the Dan? Tell me that. Tell me
Well, let's
that.
see. Where I was born, my mom tried to name me with one N, and something about something in the Bible. The hospital staff wouldn't let them do it, so she said, "Well, just tack another one on." And I guess it's something to do with the High Chaparral or Ponderosa. There was an actor on there, Dan, somebody, the big hoss guy, and so that's where it started from. But tacked the other N on, and hey. The name's Dan, two N's. Wasn't my idea. That's usually one of my lead ins.
Amen, amen. Where are you from, and what era did you grow up in? You were born in the '60s, right?
62, born Veterans Day, 11/11/62. Upstate New York, 50 miles north of Syracuse, Snyder Road. So, yeah, up to you hear about on the news for the snow. Yep, you got it.
Ooh, no way, no way. So, what was it like growing up in the '60s and '70s up there? What year did you graduate high school?
I skipped that part. I did my 14 and a half years and I quit, joined the Army, and got my GED in Korea and then an associate's degree in the Sergeant Major's Academy. And so look at me now. Huh?
Oh yeah. Good. That's a neat story in itself, right? Look, somebody's sending you hearts.
That's the other half.
Somebody's.
That's household six.
Amen. Right. Yay. It's good to see how household six here with us. Yay. So, oh my. So, okay. All right. So that begs the story. Tell me about school and, growing up and mom and dad and brothers and sisters and, cousins and all that. Tell me that. Obviously,
Well,
it's cold.
you probably read all the little notes on the coin there about what things I broke, and so I broke my back, my shoulder, my collarbone, my foot. Stung by a bee, almost died. Bit by a snake. Uh, Shot in the knee with a 22. Yeah, so I did all that before I was 18. One thing every year, so I had a permanent room in the hospital. Pretty much drained my parents out of money trying to keep me keep me going. So yeah, I was hunted, fished, trapped. It wasn't too crazy. We lived out in the country, about 3 miles from the nearest stoplight. So, uh, outdoors was the name of the game.
So you were out in the woods getting. Okay, so you just listed off. It's like a million things. Okay, so say it again. I mean, tell me again. You got hit bit by a rattlesnake. What else?
No, not a rattlesnake. It was a water moccasin or some kind of a water moccasin type. So I broke my back, fell out of a tree, raccoon hunting. We were training the dogs, and it was my turn to climb the tree and shake the coon out. And I went too high and woke up in an ambulance with sandbags around my head. I was 11 years old then.
Hold on. No, hold on. We got to stop. You're not telling me that you're really telling me that y'all tried to do the climb up the tree to get the raccoon out thing.
It was
that's not a real. Yeah. That's not a real thing, right?
That's in the spring when we don't want to find another coon, so we got one. So we just shake them out, let them run them again.
And so you climb up the tree to shake the coon out,
right? So the dogs can keep chasing it. It's because we're training the pups. But
so what are you gonna do if the so you know that so Jerry Clower tells a story about how he gets up the tree and it's a lynx up there. It's a souped up bobcat, right?
Yeah,
and he tells the whole story about shoot up in here amongst us. One of us has got to have some relief, right? So you climbed up a tree and then fall out of the tree and break your back.
Yeah, it was about
in the middle of the woods.
Yeah, it was about 300 yards off the road, the dirt road. Yeah.
Okay. All right. And then, all right, so you got bit by a snake. Okay, so tell me about you're chasing the snake around.
Well, we were down frog hunting around the pond, and got bit in the ankle by something inside the water. Figured it was a snake type, and my foot blew up, and they almost amputated it because it got so infected and all that. So, yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Well, it wasn't real big. It was just okay. Yeah, it was good.
Okay. All right. So we've broken our back. And now our foot's blowed up. And what else?
Collarbone, the infamous run into the flagpole trying to catch a football.
Okay, yeah.
Broke my shoulder trying to pole vault over a 55-gallon drum on its side. Decided I didn't want to halfway through, and ended up
Oh no.
Broke my foot wrestling in high school. Coach just always said, "Hey, I think you can take your 155 and maybe go up and wrestle a 205 or something like that." Big Swedish guy, and he pretty much turned me on my head, and I landed on my foot, and it was a good time. Good time.
Wow. So you're not the one to shy away from adventure.
No.
You're not the one to go, "Oh, not me. I think I'll stay inside." No. You're not that guy.
Nowadays we gator hunt and scuba dive and all that stuff.
Oh well. I made a tribute slideshow for you.
I saw that.
I'm gonna play that. I it's tough playing to that music, but I was like, there's nobody else in the world that will appreciate that music other than Dan Ridgeway, right? None.
True. Matter of fact, on your questionnaire there, that's one of the songs I put down there when you sent it to me.
Oh, really? Oh, that's great. That's great. Oh, so let's, yeah. Give me just a second. Let's pull this up.
He counted loud, he counted long, he waited for the shock. He felt the wind, he felt the cold, he felt that awful drop. The silk from his reserve spilled out and wrapped around his legs, and he ain't gonna jump no more. The rise was wrapped around his neck, and neck that cracked his dome. Suspension lines were tied and knots around his skinny bones. His canopy became a shroud as he hurtled to the ground, and he ain't gonna jump no more. Gory, gory, what a hell of a way to die. Gory, gory, what a hell of a way to die. Gory, gory, what a hell of a way to die. And he ain't gonna jump no more. The days he lived and loved and laughed kept running through his mind. He thought about the girl back home, the one he left behind. He thought about the medics and he wondered what they'd find. And he ain't gonna jump no more. The ambulance was on the spot, the jeeps were running wild. The medics jumped and screamed with gleam, rolled up their sleeves and smiled. Oh, it had been a week or so since last the chute had failed. And he ain't gonna jump no more. He hit the ground, the sound was flat, the blood went spurting high. His comrades were heard to say, "What a hell of a way to die!" He laid there rolling around in all the welter of his gore, and he ain't gonna jump no more. Gory, gory, what a hell of a way to die. Gory, gory, what a hell of a way to die. Gory, gory, what a hell of a way to die. And he ain't gonna jump no more.
Oh, I'm here with Command Sergeant Major retired Dan A. Ridgeway. I love it, Sergeant Major. Thanks for hanging out with me. That's the tribute slideshow I made for you. I took a bunch of pictures, obviously, off of your Facebook and stole them without your consent, I'm sure. And we'll put them together there for you. And it's so cool to hang out with you. What's your reaction when you see things like that, you know?
Sometimes I look at it and just wonder, who is that guy, you know?
Imposter syndrome sets in sometimes when you go like, "Hey, come on now," right? Because you're just being you. You're only the only you. And so, yep. Yeah. That's, oh my gosh. I remember one time I think I had staff duty with you when you were like a sergeant first class. You probably have no remember. It's one of those nights where you sit up all night and you got nothing else to talk about. So you ask all these hypothetical, stupid questions or whatever. And I was always that guy that did that. And so I picked your brain one night about so many things. You probably have no idea, but I'll never forget that. Yeah. Because I never was in the unit that you were in. I think you were in Tell me about tell me about joining the Army and stuff. I mean, your grandfather and your father. Your grandfather's got a jump star, right?
Yeah, he jumped into Sicily
Oh
with
wow.
Alpha Company 1504 Wolf Force. Um, yeah, he was a machine gunner. He broke his back. Ended up on one of the hospital ships. He was 9 hours POW with the Black Shirts, which was part of the Italian opposing force. My father was in Germany at Warner Concern with the 11th Airborne Division. That's when the transition time when they were going to battle groups and stuff. So he was over there. My older brother was in the 101st in the 70s, and then comes me. And then my son's a fourth generation paratrooper. So.
Oh my! I cheers. I mean, cheers, cheers, cheers. I can't say it any other way. That is awesome. Airborne heritage and named Ridgeway. Okay, are you any relation to the General Matthew B. Ridgeway?
No, he doesn't have an E in his name, but it's a hell of a conversation piece,
Amen. 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 Look, there is there's something about your heritage, right? Was there something calling you to be a paratrooper? Did you know that you wanted to follow in those footsteps in some way?
That's all I wanted to do. I just want to go in the Army and jump out of planes. My grandfather had a tattoo of my father had a set of wings on his forearm with U.S. paratrooper on it. I grew up looking at that, and my grandfather had tattoos also, and I was just like, I just got to do that. That's so. I had three goals in my life. One was to become a paratrooper. One was to scuba dive, and the other was to play guitar. So I'm a master rated jump master, which is like bonus of who knows how many times over. Was command sergeant major of the greatest battalion in the Army. I was a scuba instructor for two different scuba organizations, and I own a guitar. So two of the three I mastered, and one of them I'm kind of an imposter. I can thumb it, but I can't play it.
Oh my gosh! Well, we got to get you going. I love to play guitar, and I'm not that I'm any good at it, but I can play it enough to sing along badly, which everybody seems to.
With all three or four of those, I can see in the background. Yeah.
Yeah. I got a banjo I'm learning to play too, and harmonica
Very
and all kinds of stuff. It's fun to learn skills, right? It's fun to learn new things, and to look. You've chosen to do some pretty, interesting things, right? Let's go join the Army. Let's be a paratrooper. Let's be a jump master. Let's be a master rated jump master. Let's be a scuba instructor. Let's be a certified master scuba instructor. All that stuff is wow. It's a dedication to doing the right thing at the right time all the time. Did you find that you did good in the Army?
Oh yeah, me and the Army were a very good fit. Yes. Yeah. The first thing they did was send an 18-year-old over to the streets of Korea.
So you were
81 to 82.
Oh my gosh! So you were a 16 Romeo SP Vulcan in the 80s in Korea, pre Olympics.
Yes,
in
Camp
Korea.
Hovey. Yeah,
on Hovey. I've been on Hovey, Tokari, and then back into Camp Casey on the other side. Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, a hot platoon. And
All that,
I mean,
yep.
Woo, man, y'all CVC suits when you were on hot
yeah.
platoon.
Yep.
Remember that? Yeah. Katusa snack bar.
Oh yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So tell me, so you were old enough, you could drink back then over there. Yeah, so that wasn't an issue. So what was were you single, married? Tell me about what Private Ridgeway was doing.
I was a totally single 18-year-old unsupervised wannabe airborne guy, because I was supposed to go in the Army and be a field artillery guy down at Bragg.
Okay.
That's what I was supposed to be. But then when I got to the dock in the MEP station, he looked at the broken back and said, "Nah, this dog ain't hunting." So I had to go back in and watch the movie some more and pick out something So I picked the Vulcan, and I had to work my way because of my broken back through the system for 10 years to get to somebody who would sign off on my airborne packet.
Oh,
So
really?
it took me 10 years
Wow.
to even get to where I wanted to be, but perseverance paid off.
Oh, wow. So tell me about, I don't know, Private Ridgeway and Tokery.
Oh yeah, I didn't get rich during that year, I can tell you.
Did you buy some mink blankets?
I did. All the jackets and sweatsuits and all that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah, you could get all the knockoff stuff and
Yeah.
and all kinds of things they had up there for sale and
Then I
lots of.
went to Fort Ord and went back to Team Spirit for 3 more rotations. So
Oh wow, so tell the folks that are watching that may not know. Tell about Team Spirit. Team Spirit it's huge. It's huge. Tell about what your picture of Team Spirit is.
yeah, it's a 30-day exercise where a bunch of units get together and the forces in Korea, and they do this allied 30-day training exercise, force on force, and yeah, it gets pretty intense, pretty good. Yeah, the last rotation had to be my last because I ended up in the post sergeant major's office from a tokery incident. So we'll just leave that at there. Me and my platoon sergeant were kind of bad boys down there, but
Okay, so you're in Fort Ord,
yep,
7th ID, light,
yep,
and y'all go over there. What equipment did y'all take over for Team Spirit? A towed Vulcan?
yes. We had told Vulcans, Gamma Goats, and so we took them over on a ship, and actually on the last rotation back, I ended up riding a 13-day ship back with the equipment.
Is that because you got in trouble?
Yeah. No, not really, but come to think of it, maybe.
So all right, so y'all are over there and y'all end up having a night or two off in Tokery, and you ended up at the Ace Club or whatever the clubs were down there. I forget the
Oh yeah,
names of them.
yeah.
So what did you do?
What's that? The incident?
Yeah.
It did.
It only has to be 10% of the truth. Just give me the comic
Yeah.
book version. I don't know. No, nothing.
Well,
Was it
it
that
had.
bad? You didn't go smack a South Korean across the nose for no reason or nothing, did you?
No, allegedly there was an infantry first sergeant that the post sergeant major wanted to know who held him and who hit him. So
Okay, all right,
yeah,
all right.
yeah,
So there was a first sergeant that got a beat down.
right. But then
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
then he hollered out a few of those infantry words, and I'll tell you what, it was it was a fight all the way to the gate. And I was still only weighing about 155, 160 pounds, but my platoon sergeant told me I did okay.
Oh my gosh. And so what rank were you then?
Oh, let's see, that would have been a specialist. Might
Oh,
have been might
specialist.
might have been a young sergeant, but I think specialist.
Specialist Ridgeway gets in maybe some fisticuffs with a first sergeant.
Allegedly,
Maybe.
yes.
Maybe might have been involved. We don't know. But maybe that was somebody said it could have been somebody that looked a lot like you.
Yeah, the only thing that saved us was that first time was under investigation for black marketing. So yeah, so there's
Oh.
bigger fish to fry than us. So we were told to just
Uh,
get out of the country and don't come back. So
that, that's one of the things. That's one of the things that was interesting about United States forces Korea and SOFA agreements and stuff. It'd be like something happened. It'd be like, go tell him to pack his bags now, and then get him to Young Son now. And it's like next thing you know, he's gone.
the vehicle
He's
pulls
gone.
up with blackout drive on to pick you up.
Sofa warning, sofa warning. So they didn't let you go back. So you can't go back to Korea no more, huh?
Well, I'm sure it's probably water under the bridge now, but
So who were your mentors when you were young? Who were those sergeants that took care of you when you got in the fisticuffs?
oh, well, let's see. My platoon sergeant, Sergeant First Class John W. Knutson. Him and I visited the post sergeant major there. But yeah, he was a big mentor to me. He had a little bit of a crazy side, but he had it straight to where you could be crazy and where you couldn't.
Yeah.
Because I got a little bit of a wild streak, I guess, but so I hear, allegedly. But yeah, so yeah, that was it. The mentoring really started. It's kind of a loner and kind of brought myself up through the ranks, but there was a lot of NCOs and stuff that kept me on the straight and narrow. Um, and then when I hit the airborne trail, definitely, Pascal Hilton, Shaw, just you just had to look out in front of the formation and see whether that's somebody you wanted to be like or somebody that you didn't want it to be like, based on what you saw, what your perception was. And there's a lot of them standing out there that it's like that's what I want to be like when I get to that rank. And hopefully, as people watched me out there, they're seeing what right looks like.
Oh, amen. Yeah, because you're right. You can look at a leader and find a lot of what not to do sometimes, yeah,
Yep.
and it's very very visible. Um, so what was becoming Sergeant Ridgeway like? Did you avoid beating up the first sergeant from that point on?
Yeah, that was it was good. Most of my promotions came secondary zone, and except for E6, I couldn't. I took soldier of the or NCO with a quarter and stuff like that, and then the next day I couldn't pass the E6 board. Couldn't speak or something that day. So who knows? Don't know. Everything happens for a reason. But so yeah, just doing what's right. That's what you got to do. Making good decisions. Making bad decisions and don't get caught, I guess. But
It's it's always a fine line of did you get caught or were you cheating hard enough or did you not? Hold on, which one of this is am I messing up on? Somewhere I'm not trying hard enough. Oh yeah. You say you became a sergeant. You went through all the NCO courses and stuff, and you were a Vulcan this whole time.
yes. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That,
I was
so
Vulcan all the way through to when I got to Bragg, and then went through how Bragg did it. They switched over to some Stingers and stuff like that. So
yeah. Tell me about being a Vulcaneer. Were you ever a senior gunner? Did you go through the training and do
oh,
the
I
gunner
loved
checks
it.
and stuff? Right.
I loved it. One of your questions was one of your proud things. What are you proud about? And in Germany, we took best Vulcan squad. So and I tell you, there was some tough competition because and so that's one of the trophies I got on my little I love me shelf. And I look at it occasionally, going, "Yep, that's what it's all about." Because you either knew your stuff or you didn't. Um,
Uh, there is something about a competition of your peers of a team that you have built, right? That you're in charge of. And you're a squad leader of a Vulcan squad, and you beat 36 other teams out to be the best squad. Look, that's pretty freaking cool. That is pretty freaking cool. Because listen, there's about 30% of the people that are in the competition, okay, that already know that they don't have a chance of winning and they don't care. All right. But listen, there's 66% that are trying their darndest to beat you.
true.
No doubt. And to win that's a big deal. And that Vulcan dude ain't no joke. Tell the people about the Vulcan checks and the all the PIVADs and all the stuff. Remember, we used to have to do all the and it was like
Mid-range
108.
calibration.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah. Oh, you used to have to do like 180 something checks, right? Do you remember that stuff?
Oh yes, yeah. It was set up the generator. Do all. I mean, calibrate the radar, calibrate the microwave system. Load the 500 round ASU in the Toad Vulcan. Yeah, and all it takes is one slip up and you're out of the game.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Visual aircraft recognition.
Oh yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
all right. Remember, you're standing back to back and you turn around real quick and whoever identifies it first, wins and we made competitions out of it and visual aircraft recognition. It's getting even more important these days.
Yes.
Oh, wow. Yeah, yeah. So what as you became or tried to become an airborne soldier. Tell me about that quest and where you're at and what was going on in your life at that time.
Well, I was trying to find the right. First thing I had to do was get the medical community to sign off there, and being a young soldier, I re-enlisted on my first hitch the day before my ETS date, which was on a Saturday. I was just still young, dumb, didn't really know where I was going. Hadn't got that airborne string to pull on yet. And said yeah. So I ended up re-enlisting the day before my get out of the Army date, and ended up. Sergeant Ridgeway going to Germany for 4.5 years, and Bitburg, Spangdahlem air bases, and um, and then that's where I really took off. That's where I kind of made my sergeant and staff sergeant, and started being, out in front being a leader. Basically a leader since E4, specialist and squad leader, down in Fort Irwin, California, running a squad. So it's so it was good times. And that's really where I kind of started to come into my own about, okay, and here I am working on year 5, 6, 7. Okay. And then when I left Germany, so I re-upped, I got to Germany, and, finagled a signature on a medical form for, an airborne packet. And, boom, I'm off to jump school. So,
Yay.
December of '89, I went to jump school, and, was driving up I-95, and over the radio comes that the airborne jumped into Panama. And I'm like, oh, man, they didn't wait for me,
Oh man, you were like, let's go
down that day. So,
yeah. Congratulations. So so you show up at end of '89, first part of '90, right before Desert Shield and Storm.
Yep.
Oh wow.
Platoon Sergeant and Alpha Battery, Captain Underhill. First Sergeant Shaw, and then Hilton was there, and a lot of good mentors. Oh my God, it was just it was great times. I tell you, that's where I really started to thrive. Not that I didn't thrive before. Me and the Army were a perfect fit. But then it just I was in my element there. I went to Jumpmaster course with 8 jumps. 3 in division, and then they counted the 2 in the course to get your 10, as long as the commander signed off on your paperwork saying that was okay. So, and that's the most rewarding course that I've ever in my entire life graduated.
Jumpmaster school, yeah, right. That's it's an interesting set of circumstances that you have to meet to pass the course, and it's not the typical gut it out kind of thing. Your fingers just get ripped to shreds, to the point where at some point you're like, am I ever going to be able to touch anything again? Remember those things, those little things, and just the stress, right? The night before your JMPI exam, how much sleep do you get, right? Oh,
not
my
much,
gosh.
Not much at all.
Oh,
going over the, whatever you're going through, and you get 5 minutes to inspect three jumpers. You can only have 2 minors, or 1 major, and you're out. And you only get 5 minutes. And you see on the coin there, I got 459, and I missed 1 minor, and I had 1 recall. And
that's great.
And the instructor there is looking at you going, you made it, but you've got to tell me what this deficiency is. And if you get it wrong, then, and it was foreign object and locking pins, cones, and grommets. So that's what I called. And I knew I called it. And I guess they want to, I don't know what it was, but so I thought for a second, I said, this is what it is. And he's like, okay, and I didn't know it, but he had wadded up a piece of paper and stuck it in behind the ripcord. And he looked at me and goes, well, what's that over there? And I looked at it, and I said, oh my God, how did I miss that? And he had put it there after the fact when I was on my 3rd jumper, because he went back to jumper number 1 and he stuck it in there. And that was rewarding. I mean, that was very rewarding. And then you start to do your jump master duties, putting people out of aircrafts and stuff.
A jump master, being a jump master, is a qualification that reaches beyond rank. It is something that people of all ranks, so both officers, enlisted, warrant officers, can cling to and say, we have a extreme common experience together. And everybody gives a level of deference to a jump master, both for the passing the course, but really more so the leadership that it shows to be willing to go take charge of that aircraft and to lead them safely into battle, because you're there with those paratroopers. You make sure each one of them leave the aircraft, and then you exit yourself. And it's a means of delivery into battle.
Exactly.
But parachuting, being a paratrooper is not, oh, let's go jump out of an airplane. No. It's Sicily drop zone at 02 to 0220 on a Tuesday evening, knowing that you're not going to be back home until late Friday evening, and you're going to jump and you're going to have some follow-on mission and nothing's going to go right and you're going to be cold and wet and walking. And it's just the way it is, right? Do you remember running around on the drop zone looking for assembly points and trying to find your way in the middle of the night? Do you remember those nights?
Oh, yes. And then just hoping nobody lost a weapon.
Right? And piling onto a cattle car. You don't care how many. Just everybody get in. Get out. I will ball up so tight you have no idea. Just get in so we can go home, right? And then on the aircraft, just having to go pee, right? Just like, let me off of this thing, right?
Fun times.
Oh yeah, fun times.
Wouldn't trade it for the world.
No, not at all. Not at all. What about being a jump master got you most jazzed up? Did you enjoy giving pre-jump, or did you enjoy I enjoyed being on the aircraft and given the hand and arm signals and going through that. It's a pageantry, right? Isn't it? Right?
Yeah.
If we didn't have the pageantry, if we just said, okay, take care of your stuff, everybody can stand up and they can do it. They don't need us to do all the hand and arm, but it turns into a pageant, and that was so much fun for me. What was it for you?
I think being a member of the jump master team, whether you're a safety, the primary, the assistant jump master, doesn't matter. It's like you're there to make sure, and there's a timeline involved, and you got to get people from through points A, B, C, D, so it's orchestrating and choreographing the whole thing and making sure that everybody is safe and all the checks and inspections along the way. And then you got to interface with the Air Force. All those things. But you have to be able to look at people and have people look at you and know that you're confident in what you're doing, because the worst thing you can have is an unconfident jump master out there. And they know, they can smell it, they can tell. If you're a new guy, generally you did 1 or 2 or 3 jump masters, before you got to be primary. That was the rule. But yeah, so. Yeah, just the whole thing, just knowing that you're getting out there and you're doing it, and we're just let me out the door. Just let people out the door. 800 feet above the ground. 02 in the morning, dark 30. 100 pounds of equipment strapped to you, and you're just you're doing it right. Remember them Red Devil rehearsals.
Oh wow! Right. Oh my gosh. So you were first platoon sergeant.
Yes.
For 504.
Yep.
So Alpha Battery supported the 04, and so if he was first platoon, he had the first of the 04, and so explain that kind of thing, right? Look, you actually coordinate with our supported unit in a way here that you don't in other places, right? It's right. Weird that you pack your stuff up and you go down and hang out with a whole nother unit, and it's like they look at you and you're like, hey, our slices are here, and you're like, hey guys, we're the 88 guys. Right? When you're the platoon sergeant for that. And so you got to walk in as the pro, right? You're the air defense logistical pro, right? And so you got to figure out how you're going to get your beans and bullets from, the task force and get them to your guys and gals that are out all over the place. Because, look, the logistics of being a Vulcan platoon sergeant is kind of dangerous, right? Yeah. If you're on, think about it, right? We played out there on the battlefield like impunity, right? We're driving around with a little mermite can, but I don't know, man. You don't all by ourselves. We're just running around the battlefield in the middle of the night and the daytime, and
Delivering bullets and food and
yeah, I don't know how realistic that is, but back then and what we were practicing and stuff. But we sure did it, didn't we?
we did. We did it good too.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
did.
coincidentally, my grandfather jumped with 1504 into
Oh,
Sicily.
really? Oh,
So
wow.
kind of a nice full circle there.
That's just, look, I think it's just a blessing. I think it's so awesome. That is so awesome. So I want to just take for a minute, right? So First Sergeant Shaw, William Shaw, is another huge mentor of mine. Another guy that I just looked up to. He was a sense of calmness when everybody else was going crazy, right? I remember we get called out and everybody's, well, we haven't heard from so and so, and he's just sitting there smoking a cigarette, just saying, it'll all be okay. It'll all work itself out. Just relax. Do you have your stuff? Is your pack stuff according to packing list, Private Marshal? I'm like, yes, Sergeant. He goes, okay. We'll just go back upstairs in the day room and everything will be fine. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And it was really good. So for him and Underhill and you, so look, I think that General Underhill is amazing. I think that First Sergeant Shaw, and then you say Hilton's there. Pascal Hilton, and you, oh my gosh, that's a star-studded crew, dude. That's the studs right there. That's the studs. So no wonder you did great when you walk into a team like that, right? You walk into a team like that, they're not going to let you fail.
Yeah, I'd earned my stripes because I showed up at division as a staff sergeant. And I wasn't, I hadn't been around the horn as grew up in division, then went someplace else and came back. It was, showed up as a novice airborne guy, and like I said, 3 jumps later I was in jump master course, and then I was doing the jump master duties. So
I love it.
You want it, you got to take it.
Yeah, yeah. I fought to get a jump master slot and was able to get it, and I'm proud. I was worried, I had to go stand in front of Colonel Kirk and fight for a slot.
There's a name.
As a sergeant, yeah. And he said, and he gave it to me, but it was only because there wasn't nobody else in a whole battalion that was pre-test qualified. I was the guy, but I stood down there early in the morning and I wanted it, right? I wanted it just like you wanted it. What year did you go to jump master school?
That was that would have been 1990.
1990.
Yeah, I got there December of '89. So yeah, probably early '90.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That is awesome. So what was it? What was it like becoming a senior NCO? Did you notice a different scope of responsibility all of a sudden when you put that second rocker on as a sergeant first class? I know I did a little bit.
Yeah, the scope grew.
Right.
You're in charge of more, as a sergeant or something, you're in charge of 4 people, as a platoon sergeant, you're in charge of, sergeant first class, you got 21 people under you and stuff. And, and then, if you're a senior sergeant first class, first sergeant's not there for the day, you're tagged to be out front of, 100 flat bellied, steely eyed paratroopers, so yeah, because I made E7, and then I was in division the first time, 89 to 94, and didn't know it, but I got picked up for the EA list, and I got orders to go to West Point to be a TAC NCO. So I got to West Point, and like a month after I got there, the list popped, and it's like they looked at me and said, "You're here for 2 years and 2 years only," because there's a 2-year stint. Some people milked it out for longer, but they said you just made master sergeant in the secondary zone, so it's like, okay, so don't get too comfortable.
Right, yeah.
But yeah, it's more responsibility, more people, and you're now more wise to the ways of the military, joint tactics and stuff like that, coordination, task forces, and you learn all the policies and procedures about what makes the military run, and it just allows you to take care of the soldier better, because that's what you're there for. You're there to take care of the soldier, find those that really want to be there, weed out the 10% that really don't, and that's what a leader's supposed to be doing. Keep moving forward.
I truly believe that 3rd of the 4th Air Defense Artillery Regiment overall grew its NCOs. They grew its own NCO corps.
Did.
It was fed the best officers, but we grew NCOs. Look, there's a very few NCOs that are willing to volunteer to come go through our ORS cycle. You don't knowingly say, okay, I'll take my stuff out of the Connex once every 6 months and let whoever in the world look at it from top to bottom, and then go take it next week and go to the woods, for a month. And
Right.
the level of maintenance that we had at Bragg, and looking back on it, we had more and bigger equipment than anybody else, right? We had the biggest guns on the battlefield with those Vulcans, actually. And and don't drive the radar down the road on the Vulcan. It's going to break, right? You're not going to be able to calibrate it and do all this stuff. It's just not going to happen. And so that causes another problem, But the ORS cycle, I really believe, is what makes the 82nd Airborne Division such an awesome kind of machine. But Third of the Fourth is unlike any other unit anywhere in the world because of those NCOs that kept coming back. Going to Korea was like a victory lap. You do your time in Korea, and then you get to go to Korea for a year. Because in Korea you were a star, and you didn't really have to do anything. You just show up and you take over, and it's already kind of going, and you come back to Bragg to go back to work, after your victory lap over in Korea.
And we had to grow our own because, sometimes branch wasn't feeding us as much, and there was a little bit of give and take there with the 88 branch. So because, some people looked at us like we thought we were hot stuff. And
we were hot stuff. Yeah, right. We are hot stuff.
It,
Yeah, exactly.
So, and that was one of my big things is we had to focus harder on making sure that our NCOs and our NCOERs, our evaluation reports, showed what we did. And that was one thing that, I'm sure the first sergeants really, they knew that purple NCOER was coming back, because when I looked at it, I just said, we haven't taken care of this NCO, and he or she definitely deserves, better. Just keep kicking it back until it comes back with the right perspective about what the write-up is that tells the military, the Army, this is a good NCO. Or if it's not, maybe there isn't. Maybe it's one of those 10%ers that, it's like you're trying to fluff stuff here that's not really here. This person doesn't need to go up through the ranks. This person needs to go burger flipping. But that's what we had to do to grow our own.
Yeah, it's obviously we've skipped ahead here. You're talking about leading and mentoring as a command sergeant major at a time that I want to highlight something that people may not understand. We were living at a time in the NCO Corps where an NCOER had special codes, right? And you had to utilize these special codes to categorize. If you said promote, it meant one thing. If you said promote now, it meant another. If it meant promote ahead of peers, it meant something in between. And there was a hierarchy of what to say and when you said it. And there was also bullets that if you put something on there that you couldn't add a number to and quantify and point to, then they would. It was just really weird. It was like you had to play by the rules if you wanted to get your folks, the right ones, promoted. And so that was what Sergeant Major's talking about. Sergeant Major's talking about how he had to teach his younger NCOs how to write and communicate so that they could identify and make sure that the right guys and gals got promoted, so that they, kept their own being grown, right? You got to make sure the right guy gets promoted. You got to get the right E7 into the first sergeant slot so that you can get to complete the record NCOER, so that you can make sure he gets on the next list, exactly. That kind of thing. Yeah, that's kind of how you take care of, and it still goes on today, I'm sure. I hope it does anyway. What was let's just throw it out there. Here you are. You realize you're going to be the command sergeant major of 3rd of the 4th Air Defense Artillery Regiment. Look, I don't know of any other dream job that I would have rather had I stayed in and and had any chance at something like that. What was it like? That's got to be cool, right?
Well, there's a story behind that one too, because I'm down. I finished the Sergeant Major's Academy, and I'm down there in Patriot Land at Fort Bliss. Brigade S2. Sergeant Major waiting on a battalion, and third of the fourth was coming up. Well, I got word that it wasn't going to be Ridgeway because they were going to send some novice rated, you know, sergeant major there. So there was a dog fight that went on there for that to happen. Um, Lieutenant Colonel Underhill was involved in that. We called people. So this is what's right for the battalion. Send somebody there who doesn't know uh, how to do airborne things. Be the senior ranking enlisted person there. It just wasn't right. So it was a dog fight. So sometimes you gotta fight like you're the third monkey, on the ramp and it's starting to rain, the arc. So hey, Ridgeway ended up there.
Hey,
So
I love it. I'm glad you're
hey,
there, right? There's
yeah,
something about tradition. There's something about looking at that wall of the command sergeant majors that, Paris Williams, Sergeant Major Williams, put together for us. It's so amazing, and seeing all you guys is up there and gals, and how awesome, what a great legacy that we have. What year were you the command sergeant major of the battalion?
I got there 2001 to 2000, end of 2003.
Wow. So you're still part of the division.
Yes.
Yeah. So, we're running up and down Ardennes. We've got Avengers. We're getting deployed.
Lots of deployments. Yeah.
Right.
OEF, OIF, Iraq was just rampant. I mean, it was just, yep.
Did
I,
did you?
I, I went to Desert Storm.
Yeah.
Looked like I was going to head back to one of the other ones, but they didn't take the full battalion, so I ended up staying back to be the senior battalion rep with Major Sorensen. Battalion commander Lieutenant Colonel Underhill he was over part of the division staff.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything happens for a reason.
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely. And it's interesting. I never made it to Iraq or Afghanistan, and I didn't even make it to Desert Storm. I was actually in the Gulf War, like the Gulf War in a secret, in the Prime Chance over in the. Remember when we went over there, and then I went playing around over in Kosovo, in Albania, and all those kinds of times. I did a lot of tours in Korea. What was your what was one of your most treasured moments, you think, in your military career as you look back on it?
I'd say being the third of the fourth command sergeant major. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that, especially when you had a set of goals that you were starting out to achieve, which was to jump out of airplanes. I'd have been happy with just my being a 5-jump chump with a set of basic wings on my chest. And then here I am, and it comes full circle, and you get the opportunity to, be in charge of 500, flat-bellied, steely-eyed paratroopers of the best air defense battalion in the free world. That had to have been it. I mean, I was riding the wave. Yeah.
Oh wow! So we have, this is a battalion full of paratroopers, Stinger missile jump packs, EDRIs, doing PT on Ardennes. Were you still living in Charlie 9349?
Yes. Yep. The old barracks.
Oh wow! The old barracks around the replacement detachment.
Yep.
Oh wow! You said you got there in 88, 89?
89.
Oh wow! So you just missed the Red Beret Club. It turned into the Sports Parachute Club by the time you got there.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. What kind of coolness is it to see your son follow in your footsteps in a way?
Awesome. It's just awesome. It's like your first skydive or your first, it's one of those awesome events that, yeah. I mean, there's just no other word, I think, other than awesome that could just explain. Yeah.
It's got to be neat. I saw the pictures of you pinning the jump wings on him, and I'm sure you gave him the appropriate blood wings and all of those traditions that are so dear. Do you say like I do? I say I think blood wings is hazing, right? I do. I do. But call me well hazed, right? I've been well hazed. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I don't even think he really knows what his legacy is. What it all means. He just went in. It's like he got the airborne option and came out with a set of wings, and he was a drone pilot up in Alaska, and um, and me knowing what the airborne community is, and as you get older, you look back, and today, over the last couple of days, I've been looking through all my kind of pictures and stuff, if you will, and I still got my jump logs and my little comments about them, like, oh shit, that hurt, and the 2 tree landings and stuff like that, and those are things that he'll look back on, as he ages gracefully, and all those things, and um, yeah, awesome,
You,
awesome stuff.
all right, so you got to tell me the tree landing story. At least one of them. One of the tree landing stories. You got to say, look, I looked down and there I was.
Well, we're doing a jump, 800 feet. No, actually, it's a 1250. And we came out over Sicily, and as soon as you look down, it's like we're already over the trees. It's like they put us out over the trees. It wasn't like the winds were blowing; they blew us over the trees. And I had twists. I had probably a good baker's dozen twists and stuff. And here I am, kind of bicycling out, and I know I'm in the trees. And just as I come out of my last twist and stuff, it's just crash, right? It's like Rambo coming through the pine tree. I mean, it's just like, oh my God, it's like, doo, 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 doo. Matter of fact, that was the 6th jump or the 8th jump, because I was on staff duty, and I went to the sergeant major, and I said, hey, sergeant major, I need, can I take a couple hours off to be involved in this airborne operation? Um, and said yes. I need this to be the 8th jump so I can get into the jump master course. And my leg was purple. I mean, it was, they had all the ladders out there, ladder trucks and stuff out there getting everybody out, because I mean they put almost all of us in the trees. It was
Oh
just,
wow.
but it was, you have to do all that whole thing about dropping your equipment and shit. Either stay where you're at and wait. I lucky enough to be close enough to the tree where I could drop my equipment and skinny down the tree, and good to go. But that night was nothing but getting everybody out of the trees. I think we lost one paratrooper from a chest strap that night. But
Oh no. Look, yeah. So that's an interesting thing, right? We did have a time where we literally had a soldier that ended up forgetting to undo their chest strap, and the way they undid their equipment, it caused them to go down and hang themselves and not be able to get free, just because of the way their hands and things got pinned in their equipment. Oh my gosh, yeah. So tree landings. Did you have any other kind of crazy, anything like
jump,
that? Yeah.
our jump into Texas, that one was like must have been a Cat 5 hurricane going by or something. I mean, we sent a lot of people to the hospital. That was at the one where the cattlemen's ended up throwing us out and stuff. The cattlemen's incident.
Oh, were you
Uh,
there at the Cattleman's incident?
Yeah, Pascal Hilton was in the cactus and got some of them big 3-inch cactus through his lip and stuff. And oh
What?
yeah, oh yeah, you come out and hit the ground. I got just drug. I mean, I swear to God, I passed a jackrabbit running flat out when I was coming down.
Oh, you're talking about on the jump. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So I talked to Colonel Barrow the other night, and he told us about, he was the senior guy at Cattleman's that night.
Yes.
Do you remember that night? What do you
I
remember from that night?
I do. We did what everybody writes about. We did get boisterous, and we did jump up on the tables and do airborne operations off the table and stuff. But I remember as I was coming out of Cattleman's, and the assistant S3, I forget his name, he decided he was going to get up on this horse that was hitched to the rack, a live horse. And he jumped up on that horse, and this guy came out, and he was packing. And he told him, he said, it's still legal to shoot people for horse thief. in Texas. And he said, I'm going to give you 3 seconds to get off that horse, or I'm going to shoot you. And I'll tell you what, it was a tense moment. I was like, oh my God, here we are. We just got thrown out of Cattleman's. Now we're going to have a shooting right here in the parking lot.
Oh my
Those
gosh,
damn
that's great.
paratroopers. Oh, loved
That's
it. Loved
great.
it. Loved it, man. It was awesome.
That was one of the funnest nights. I think. I mean, I don't know if I could explain the power, the sheer kind of power and the fun of all of us having that firing out party, and then going and spending like the whole afternoon at Cattleman's, exchanging our tickets for the beers, and then you could buy more tickets for like $1 or something. And then we're doing the time warnings and jump commands and exiting off the tables. 1992 in a very nice restaurant, right?
Yeah. I can't believe their feelings were hurt, but
Oh my gosh, it was so funny. So Colonel Barrow says the whole deal. He goes, had nothing. That the cattlemen's wasn't upset about anything except for the security guard and the horse, because they thought we were going to have a shooting. Because they don't hire the they hire these people and give them a gun and call them a security guard. But hey, normally it's Bubba that lives in a single wide down the street, right, and out of a job. And he could have shot somebody, man. He'd have shot that captain. It'd have been a mess.
yeah.
But that captain should not have been on that horse, though. But I remember
No.
that, too. I remember that. I seem to remember him riding off.
I tell you, it was wild times. It was wild times.
Oh, my gosh. So, if you had to go back, or you could go back and, live a year again or a time in your life again, is there something that you would go back and do again and enjoy, or maybe do different? Or I mean, I have no idea.
I wouldn't change a thing. I don't think I'd change a thing. It'd be easy to say, I wish I didn't have my broken back and I could have went down to brag, as a young private and be that field artillery guy. But everything else would have changed. So, like I said, I've got more bonuses in my life right now as far as, military service and, the legacy and all that stuff and the airborne and there. I mean, you change one thing, it's going to change another, and I wouldn't have all those bonus points.
Yeah.
Jump master and, command sergeant major, 3rd of the 4th Air Defense Artillery Regiment. So no, I'm totally okay. I got some, I can actually say, I think I left a lot of it, 90+% of me out there in the military. When me and the military had to part ways, my son was 8 and, they want to send me to a 2-year hardship to Korea. And I said, that just doesn't fit. Send me back to the sandbox on safari, whatever you want to do. But, that's just, so we, had to make a hard call there, but it was the right call. I feel it was the right call. So yeah, it's good. No, wouldn't change a thing. Everything the way it's supposed to be.
So tell me, brag on your family a little bit. I know we've heard a little bit about your son, and we've been introduced to your wife here. She's chimed in. Brag on your family for a little bit.
Well, my son is, remarried. She has a son, and he's a great American. He's down there around El Paso, Texas. He was in the Army, so we've got a good military family. My son couldn't ask for anything better there. It's like him going in the military. All the money I spent on Xboxes paid off because he was a drone pilot. And then him getting a set of wings, being a 4th generation paratrooper. I mean, what's to say about that? I mean, that's just awesome, and it taught him a lot of stuff about himself in the military. Because when people find out that you've got a retired command sergeant major as a father, most people try to keep that hush hush for a while during basic and all that stuff. Got an awesome family. Get my wife's side, her son, he's got 2 kids, so got grandchildren out there. So I'm just waiting for generation number 5. Get busy, son.
Jumpers, hit it. You better get started. Keep the feet and knees spread for a while, maybe.
Yeah, I'll tell you. Whenever we if somebody wants to listen to my story, it isn't a 5 minute deal, because and most of the times I get people looking at me like, yeah, right, you're born on Veterans Day, your son was born at West Point, you broke all these bones, your grandfather did this, your father did that, your brother, your son, and stuff like that, and one thing just leads right into another, and it's just, it's usually a 2 or 3 beer conversation at least before you can get through the whole Ridgeway legacy and I love me stuff. So
Yeah. So I'm enjoying it. Yeah, we're having fun. I'm
yeah.
glad we're here, and we're just getting started. We're just getting started. Tell me what it is about you that just continues to exude success. Are you afraid of failure, or are you that competent? Or, I mean, again, you were an example and continue to be an example of what right looks like. How does that manifest itself to you? Do you know it, or are you just, I'm just being me?
Some of it's just, yeah, I'm just being me. I mean, I kind of, I usually think a lot of like, if I make this decision, what's the worst scenario that could happen? What would it look like on the front page of the morning news, if you will. But then just making good decisions and common sense. I think a lot of it's common sense. It's not rocket science to figure out what's right and what's not. So and I think that was instilled in me by all the military leaders and stuff that I ran across. And like I said, you could look out there and you could see people doing not the right things and the consequences of them. So you can consciously make a good decision, or you can just disregard and not pay attention and find out yourself in a bad position, having made a bad decision, which might have been no decision at all, and all of a sudden you're in the wrong place at the wrong time. So I think good, smart decisions. I am good. I'll tell you that. It's like I'm just plain awesome.
Amen. Amen. Amen.
But I'm
Look.
the shy introverted guy.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah.
Penny Cox says, "Great American family of heroes. Thanks for your service." So thanks for Penny for watching and chiming in out there on YouTube. We're live on YouTube and Twitch and Twitter and Facebook.
Oh man.
Yeah, so I figured out how if you pay this one price, you can just stream everywhere. So I've set up the little accounts, and it's an interesting thing. I truly believe the value in what we're doing is really represented in a coin and with a serial number and a thumb drive that includes our memories. It's not what we're doing live here, really. It's taking what we've done and putting it here and saving it on a shelf so that we know we've got the words and the memories of our dear grandfather or father or uncle or whatever relationship to you. We've got your story, whatever it is you decide to tell, and that's what we're in the middle of telling. And when we get done, we'll put the slideshow we made and this interview, and we'll put it in a box, in a thumb drive, a titanium thumb drive, and we'll send it your way, and we appreciate your donations. You're a master rated donor already. Thank you, sir. We appreciate it.
I don't believe in doing anything half-assed.
Amen. So thank you. We really appreciate it. What is it that kept you going late at night? They say there's no atheist in foxholes. Is there something that kept you, going down the path?
Career-wise, you mean, or?
Anything, by the way, Kelly Underhill says, "Hey, Dan, I'm in Atlanta watching 3 grandkids. When I get home, I'll share it with Jeff. Love you, buddy, and enjoyed many life moments with you. Proud of you." Right? Oh, aren't the Underhills American treasures, right? This is General Underhill's wife, Kelly, and oh my gosh, you can't be any more cool than the Underhills. Except for being with Command Sergeant Major Dan Ridgeway, a great American he is. They were a command, you guys were a command presence together. When did you guys serve together? You were his battalion Command Sergeant Major, right?
Yes. Yeah, we were there 2001 2003, just about the same time we came in together, pretty much. And then back in the 89 to 94 time frame when he was the Alpha Battery Commander, I was one of the platoon sergeants there. So
That's
yeah,
awesome.
it's kind of weird how the whole legacy and fate brings you back together, and
Oh yeah.
awesome. I'll tell you, I had nothing but total respect for the Underhills. Just awesome people.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
I
Oh
was
yeah.
truly blessed to be part of that command team. Yeah.
Oh yeah. What what were you like a good shot? Were you good at PT? Well, obviously you did enough. Look, you can't hang around Bragg without being a 270 or above kind of person for
Yeah.
very long,
Yeah.
really, right?
Yeah, yeah. I was into I was a runner. I broke hearts all the way up on 2 mile runs and road marches and stuff right up till I retired.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And people thought I was like yeah, Bitburg, Germany too. Yes,
Yeah,
guy.
right.
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah, I was a runner. I was a runner, and they used to call me Mario. I'd look like Mario out there running that 2 mile because some people would pace themselves and do look at their watch. I mean, not me. It's like the whole thing about this one is get it done as fast as you can. So let's get it on.
Oh
Um,
wow. So you were
and,
moving out.
yeah, I was running 11 minute 2 miles. 10 hit a 10:59 one time.
Woo.
And those young bucks would just sit there and go, okay, smoke the sergeant major. No, not today.
Oh
Uh,
no, man. So Sergeant Major's doing sub 13s as a CSM?
yep, yeah,
Oh wow. Oh wow. So yeah, when the CSM's coming in at, 1246, it's like, "Whoa, dude, that's crazy." That's
like I
crazy.
said, I left a lot of me out there on the where it's supposed to be because that's what you're
Oh
supposed to
yeah.
be doing.
Oh wow.
Challenging them, making sure they know what right looks like and making good try to get them to make good decisions.
Tell me a little bit about losses. As a senior NCO, sometimes we lose soldiers. We have to do memorial services. We have to go through some of those things. Was there anything about the loss of soldiers that impacted you in a way that you would be willing to talk about?
Well, um, I'm not a good dying type of guy. I mainly focus on the living. We did lose a soldier in battalion. I'm probably I would consider myself kind of an empath. I can really feel the emotion of other people. And yeah, tough stuff. I can remember that we lost a soldier, and going and doing that whole movie thing of knocking on the door and the door opening, and the person just seeing the uniform personnel and the clergy out there, and just yeah, tough stuff. You never forget things like that. Um, it lives with you. Um, I've lost a couple soldiers throughout my career to different things. Um, and at the end of the day, you have to kind of, like I said, you got to focus on the living and march on with the mission, while at the same time you got to respect, what happened and pay tribute and do all that stuff there. Um, yeah, tough stuff. That's really hard. That's the hard days of work.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
it, somebody gets lost on the battlefield, or it's raining outside or something like that. But that's the stuff that hits you right in the heart. Yeah.
What was there a time that you looked forward to? Like I'll tell you honestly, deep down inside, I looked forward to battalion and brigade and division runs. I really enjoyed them. I hated getting up early in the morning for it and all the stuff, but I enjoyed the pageantry of like a brigade run. Like when you do your brigade assumption DRF1 run, DRF assumption run for your brigade, that was cool, right? You got your whole unit, everybody's deploying to war, you're running up and down the road. Was there something that you looked forward to, as part of like your regular service?
I kind of liked it all. I mean, I liked the airborne operations, and the brigade runs, the bastard brigades runs, the division reviews, All American Week. Just everything was set on a calendar, and it just there wasn't a dry spell. I mean, in division there was always stuff going on. There was always stuff going on other places, whether it be training, exercise, or change of commands, or all that kind of stuff. But and if the center of the universe, Fort Bragg, everything was cyclic. I mean, and you got pumped. If you came to work and you didn't have fun coming to work, the suck factor might have been pretty high, but at the end of the day, you're going to get a good story out of it. You're going to get good training. You're going to learn something, and that's what it's all about. Just you got to go hard. And that's what I liked about Fort Bragg. Nothing against the other units, in the Army, Legland and stuff like that. But I tell you what, if you're in division, you're running hard 365 days a year. Whether you're getting, ready for division ready force, or whether you're on division ready force, or it's all American week. I mean, you are giving 110% to something. Yeah.
Oh, no doubt, no
I love
doubt.
it. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, that you had to really buy into the division's concept and mission to stay there for as many years as we did. So you were at the height of the divisional air defense. That you were the last, the greatest of the battalion being as part of the division, and I mean we were gladiators like no other. We were willing to strap that missile on our side and go anywhere in the world and do anything. And we did at one point go into Haiti. We're going to go to Haiti, and we got turned around. What was it like for you to kind of be the command sergeant major, wrangling all that in together? Did you find it hard to throttle down the steely-eyed? What's that say?
Flat-bellied, steely-eyed paratroopers.
Yeah, yeah. Did you have a method of throttling them down or something, or
No,
did you pump them up?
You always got to pump them up, but you always got to make sure that they understand what right looks like. Hey, don't go out there and be a fool and then come back and expect sympathy. Make good, sound decisions. Some people, when the safety briefs are going on a Friday night or something like that, it's kind of like blah blah. Charlie Brown's teacher, and then you're going to have somebody, that's going to go out there and run the streets a little bit too hard. The wolf's knocking on their door a little bit too much, but you expect that. That's the way it is. I mean, you can't take people and turn them into flat-bellied, steely-eyed, air quotes, killers, and then you gotta temper them, and that's a leader's job in the military. Is you got to have them ready, and you got to have that mental capacity to be able to turn into that warrior whenever in a moment's notice, especially in the 82nd Airborne Division, because you're on 18 hours, you're going to find your boots on some other country's ground. So you got to make them into a warrior, but you got to make sure that they understand, until you get on the battlefield, you got to temper that. And that's hard. I mean, that's really hard.
Plotnik tells a story. Plotnik tells a story about how he goes in a club and his partner ends up getting beat down, and they got out in the driveway, and his partner looks at Plotnik and says, "Man, why didn't you help me?" He says, "Man, you was being a fool. You got to be a fool on your own, man. I ain't stepping in."
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Such a good time. We're here with Command Sergeant Major Dan Ridgeway. Sergeant Major, oh my gosh. So what's going on in your life now? What are you focused on? What's happening on your day to day? What are you thinking about?
Yeah, I got a full-time IT job working for the defense contractor, a team lead position. So my wife has got me into gator hunting. So we've been gator hunting for about 8 years now, going out and getting gators during gator season. Scuba diving, was skydiving for a while, kayaking, photography. We actually went down to the Everglades and was looking for those great big pythons that are in the Everglades there. We went down there one time to do that. So yeah, we stay pretty busy.
Oh yeah,
we run pretty hard. You got to keep all them owies all churned up. You got to, when you walk around and you feel those owies and they came from Sicily drop zone or, Ardennes Street or whatever. It's like, you got to be able to say that feels good because you know how you got it.
Oh, amen. Amen.
Yeah.
What's your favorite cadence?
Oh, well, I couldn't sing any, and I'd last about 20 seconds out there before some of the first sergeants or somebody would come out and kick me out of the roll. The old C-130 is good, and rest his soul, but flag, and all them people, they had some good cadences.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. It was just such a ceremonial time running down the road out there, and
It was.
I remember one time, it was probably before your time, but Delta Battery, before they got deactivated the first time, had a bulldog that was their mascot, and apparently the bulldog broke loose and bit a major that was running down the street or something.
I can believe it.
Crazy times. Crazy times. If you were gonna look at an American these days, or maybe your future grandchild or somebody, and say, hey, this is the advice, from the, flat-bellied, steely-eyed paratrooper, that was once the command sergeant major of a storied unit in our Army. Do you have any advice, from a sage old man,
Well, I'm still of the opinion that nobody can go wrong by doing a hitch in any of the military services, because the military services still have a core value, and they still have a the basic training to get into the military. There's still a lot of stuff there that will teach a young great American about themselves, future leader of our country, about themselves. When they go in there, when they endeavor to get into a military service, they've got to be willing, and they've got to want to be there to do it. Nothing's given to you. And then once you get in there and you learn about yourself, then if you're going to learn a skill, or you're going to have the opportunity to better yourself in the marketing skills of whatever the country needs. If you're going for it as an infantryman, okay, you're going to carry a rifle around, but the doors that you're going to have just by being, when you get out, a veteran, or while you're in, you can do that. You want to see the country with an M16, okay, go ahead, knock yourself out. But all the benefits of serving your country are still out there. And that's what I still tell people today is, go in the military. If you know what you want to do, that's fine. You can go that route. Just understand that, if you decide that you're not going in the military, down the road at some point in time, you're running and be talking to somebody, and you're going to say, well, I didn't do that. So I always encourage people to think about going in one of the military services to start with, even if it's only for one hitch, because, today, you wear this shirt around, and people look at it and they go, oh, division, huh? Oh, oh, wow. What's that? Was that that's a command sergeant major rank. And, you get asked a bunch of questions, and whether it be a command sergeant major rank or you're just wearing some kind of a veteran shirt, people, I've seen it all the time. People are like, thank you for your service. Yeah, I just tell people, go in the military. If you don't know, especially if you don't know what you want, go in the military and learn something about yourself. They'll teach you some stuff. They'll teach you a skill, and then when you get out after your first hitch or your fifth hitch or whatever the case may be, you'll know about yourself and you'll know where you want to go in life. And if you don't, like me, I was fighting to get to Fort Bragg or actually fighting for a set of wings on my chest. It took me 10 years to get to do that. And by that time, me and the military were a perfect fit. And then I got to start doing exactly what I wanted to do, which is jump out of planes and, lead soldiers by that time, preferably paratroopers. And that worked out too. So, yeah, that's what I tell people.
Well, thanks for the advice. I appreciate it. That's exactly what I wanted to hear. What what does the future look like for you? Where do you see what are you going to be? Just going to be chasing gators in 10 years?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
Yeah, we got a 10-footer 2 years ago.
Oh,
I love it.
fun.
Yeah. And you can't shoot them down here, so in Florida. So you have to go out and crossbow them, bait them, harpoon them, all that kind of stuff. So it's
Oh man,
yeah, it's a good time.
I got a story where we chased a gator around. It was a 5 foot 1 inch gator, and we took care of it. It was in our it was in anyway. Never mind. We took care of a gator one time, and then I have a story about it. That's fun. So so hey, let's give you the last word. And then I'm hoping maybe if you could, maybe you could call us to attention and then sign out. Maybe we could get Command Sergeant Major Ridgeway signing out or so. I just don't know, but you got the last word, sir.
Well, hey, thanks for having me on. Like I said, we've been planning this for a little while. When you pinged me the first time, I just couldn't come off at a drop of a hat because there is a little bit of legacy to go through. It's not because of me; it's because of those that came before me and stuff. So, thank you for having me on, and thank you for I can't see on this who's all out there, but I'm sure there's one or two people, and if you're on, it must be because we've crossed paths, or maybe you just that all marshals of these things are just great, and you tune in all the time. So definitely appreciate that. Appreciate y'all. Y'all are great Americans. The non-military people that are out there watching, you are the people that we fight for and stuff like that. And if you did wear a uniform and our paths crossed, and you're watching this, it's either because you like the way I worked, or maybe we had differences of opinion. Doesn't matter. We serve together, and you're great Americans. So with that, like I said, I've been looking through a lot of my old I Love Me stuff, pictures and stuff, and I came up with I was writing names as I came across people and stuff, and I'm probably up to 100 names already, and that's I haven't even got started. So it's like definitely cherished memories of all the people and all the places I've been and the things I've done. Like I said, I don't think I would change anything, because that would have changed the outcome of potentially me not being here today, having this opportunity to talk to you, um, or have all the things in my life, or had the things in my life that I've experienced. So I'm just I'm a silver lining type guy. My glass is always half full, so
Amen.
so with that, I think that was it. I am making 2 more coins, one for my grandfather, one for my father. And when I get those, I'll send you one of each, and you can have a complete set.
Oh, thank you. I'm honored. To show everybody, I have 2 beautiful coins. I mean, they have pictures on them. It is amazing. It is really cool. And it's almost like, your ORB or ERB is right here. It's really cool. The old 2-1 and 2 alpha. It's really, really cool. Vulcan and a lot of symbology, lots of audacious on here. Yeah.
Good deal. That's pretty much all I got. I'm just happy to be here. Like I said, shy, introverted me, just a high school dropout that did good in his life. Me and the military fit perfectly, and thank you for the opportunity to share my experiences and legacy and stuff like that. And thank you everyone that's watching and all the comments and stuff. Appreciate it. So with that said, battalion attention. Dismissed. Sky Striker 9 out.
Oh, I love it. Yay! Oh, hold on. I got a sound effect. Hold on. I think I can do this. Yay! Oh, I love it. I love it. Well, let's play this slideshow one more time, and then we'll take it out. Here we go.
Sounds good.
Oh yeah.
He counted loud, he counted long, he waited for the shock. He felt the wind, he felt the cold, he felt that awful drop. The silk from his reserve spilled out and wrapped around his legs, and he ain't gonna jump no more. The risers wrapped around his neck, connected, cracked his dome. Suspension lines were tied and knots around his skinny bones. His can
canopy became a shrub as he hurtled to the ground. And he ain't gonna jump no more. Gory, gory, what a hell of a way to die. Gory, gory, what a hell of a way to die. Gory, gory, what a hell of a way to die. And he ain't gonna jump no more. The days he lived and loved and laughed kept running through his mind. He thought about the girl back home, the one he left behind. He thought about the medics and he wondered what they'd find. And he ain't gonna jump no more. A-loop, loop, 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 a-loop, loop, 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 a-loop.
The ambulance was on the spot, the jeeps were running wild. The medics jumped and screamed with glee, rolled up their sleeves and smiled.
You gotta just love Velton Locklear, right?
Yes, I ran into him at the Army 10-miler down in Washington.
He hit the ground, the sound was flat, the blood went spurting high. His comrades were heard to say, what a hell of a way to die! He laid there rolling around.
I put that picture there specifically with the whiskey bottle. I love that plaque. Did you make that?
I did, yes.
That's awesome.
Gory, gory, what a hell of a way to die. Gory, gory, what a hell of a way to die. And he ain't gonna jump no more.
Oh, that's it. We're here with Command Sergeant Major, retired Dan Ridgeway. Love you, Sergeant Major. Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you. You're a great American. Stay safe.
Oh,